Welcome to Pine Thicket Philosophies, the non-podcast podcast where we do everything the podcast experts tell you not to do. If you are looking for a finely polished and professional podcast crew, well, folks, we ain't it. But if you want to virtually join a group of old outdoorsmen from southern Appalachia as we sit around the fire and talk about any one of our favorite topics, we'll pour a cup of coffee, pull up a chair, and enjoy. Okay, we're back. We have changed microphones and we don't think we like them very much, but we're going to give it a try. They don't appear to work as well as we would like for them to. I feel like we're having to hug the microphone a whole lot more with these. But right now we are going to be discussing some camping tips. My tips cover everything from backpacking all the way up to teardropping, carrying our teardrop camper and camping, which is just a step above tent camping out of the back of your car, basically. So would you like and Shannon is joining me. Say hello, Shannon.
Hello, Shannon.
Hello, Shannon. How'd I know she was going to do that? So I am going to, I assume you want me to start us off again?
Please.
Just like we did last episode. One of my biggest things that I've started doing lately, and actually I guess it's me and Shannon have both been doing this because we kind of both cook when we go on camping trips. If it's a teardrop trip where she's going with me, she cooks a whole lot more than I do. But if it's me going with the guys or whatever, I've started doing this, which is pre-cooking the meats to a very rare state, and then freezing them so that when you pack them in a cooler, they are frozen and will can stay frozen for a couple of days, and then you can set them out. I like to wrap my bacon. I'll cook bacon, and then I will wrap it in aluminum foil and put it in a freezer bag and freeze it. And then when I get to camp and we're ready to start cooking, I'll pull out an aluminum foil, wrapped, bacon, and just set it in the skillet and let it warm up, and it will cook. It will finish cooking during this process. And that it keeps camp a lot cleaner. You don't have as many dishes to do as far as having to get a knife and all that kind of stuff. And it just kind of simplifies things because everything gets wrapped in aluminum foil, and then you just open up the aluminum foil packet and you eat out of it, or everybody gets out of it, and then you just wad it up and throw it in the trash. Makes life easier, makes cooking a lot quicker, that kind of thing.
That's a good tip. Anything to make cooking easier.
You're going to have to get in front
Anything to make cooking easier. Yeah. Yes, good tip.
Yeah, you're going to have to hug the microphone there. All right. What else? What you got, babe?
You always take care of the camping stuff. I mean, you're over prepared always. So there's I don't have a whole lot of tips because you take care of everything. I'm just along for the ride. But I can't remember when we went, but when we were in Cades Cove, we learned never to neglect our anchors. Anchor your canopies. Never neglect your anchors. I'm not even sure.
Slide over in front
I'm
of
not even sure that the anchors would have helped that night.
No, we got in a middle of the night windstorm, and
no rain, no thunder, just wind.
Just waves of wind rolling through the valley. And it jerked our canopy up over the teardrop, over our truck, and wrapped it around a tree.
Yes.
Thankfully, it hit that tree because it was headed for a very expensive motorhome.
Yes.
A Mercedes camper van. And so, thankfully, it wrapped around that tree. But we were up at 3 o'clock in the morning out there trying to get it out of the tree, keep it from blowing away some more. So yes, that's a great one. I had forgot about that.
It won't take but a minute.
No. Okay. My next one is a little trick that I picked up for backpacking. You carry these little stoves, these little cookers that screw on the top of the propane tanks, whether it's a JetBoil or one of the cheap Amazon. And for years and years and years, I used the little cheap Amazon ones that were like $9 each. So, matter of fact, I think the ones that I still have them, and they still work. I still use them. I bought 2 of them for like $11.99, and I use those things. I've used them for years. But something that I started doing was I started seeing that most of the time where your failure came in was because they would corrode from moisture. So what I started doing was, on these backpacking trips, a lot of times you're eating like Mountain Home or Mountain House or Peak or something like that, these dehydrated meals. Well, when you open up these dehydrated meals, they all have down in there the little moisture absorbers, that the little packets that are down in there. Well, I was just throwing them in the trash. And then one day I thought, why am I throwing it in the trash? So every time I cook another Mountain House meal and I pull out the moisture absorbing packet, I change out the moisture absorbing packet in my stove, and I'll take that one out of that Mountain House meal and I'll put it in the little pouch with my stove. And I'm going on 8 or 10 years with those stoves now, and they're still just rocking away. They do a great job. Now, I did ante up and buy me a JetBoil before our trip to Canada, but the only real reason I did that was because it was all contained, and it was all just, and it was, supposed to be a little nicer. You could handle the pot and everything when it's hot, and just made life a little easier. And but I really would have been just fine with what I had. Can you hear me? Whoa, hey. Yeah, these microphones are much better.
Much better.
Okay, sorry about that. We had little technical difficulties.
You want to just start all over again?
No, we can just...
Okay.
Hang on. There we go. Does that sound better?
Much.
I agree. It sounds much better in our headphones. I'm not sure how much better it's going to sound on our, on the recording, but it sounds much better on here. Okay. I think I was speaking, and Shannon asked me if I wanted to start over, and I'm like, no. And the reason for that is I want to have a direct comparison to how good these mics are versus those.
Okay, moving on.
Okay, I was talking about the moisture absorbers when the unit shut down there. I think that they are, I think that's one of the main reasons that those little stoves, as cheap as they are, has lasted as long as they have for me. Okay, what you got?
Mine are just puny compared to yours, but all I have is my experience. And what I've got here is always put a shelter over your shelter. And, probably people who camp a lot know that already. But if you don't go camping and you just get in a hurry, I'm not going to put up the rain fly or whatever, you're going to probably be sorry. And the reason I say that is because of the tornado warning in the edge of the prairie in Missouri. Mm-hmm. That night we did not have shelter over our shelter.
No. And here's a funny thing. That's number 5 on my list.
Really?
So yes, so we're killing 2 birds with one stone here. The story she is speaking of this was actually the first time we had ever camped in the teardrop in rain. We had built the teardrop in 2013. 2014, we went to Missouri, a little town called Neosho, and we went to a cross-country running camp that our son and several of his teammates were attending. And that's about 12, 14-hour drive from here. So it was a pretty big trip. Well, we had a canopy, one of these pop-up canopies set up on the side of our teardrop with room, with walls on it. So we basically had a spare room, for clothes and things like that. Well, the problem was...
For changing clothes.
For changing clothes and for, us to store our clothes and stuff in. The problem was when the rain started coming down, it was washing off of that canopy and hitting the side of the teardrop and coming in all around the door. Because, the door doesn't have like weather seals and stuff on it. And so we got soaked. And come to find out, we were in a tornado warning. We didn't know that. Shannon and I were camped on one side of this camp, and
with the girls.
Our girls that were from our school were camped right in front of us in tents. And I went out to check on them in the storm, and they were panicking, and I was like, guys, this is nothing, it's nothing. I've camped in way worse than this. When inside I was really going, oh my gosh, we're all about to die, But come to find out, the next morning we found out that a tornado had touched down like 2 miles down the road. And there we were in tents and, our little teardrop camper. And probably the funniest part of the whole story was, this was in 2014. This was 10 years ago now. Just a year or so ago, we were talking about that whole deal with the coach of the cross-country team, and he was talking about being in the basement. And I was like, wait, what? And he was like, yeah, you don't remember being in the basement? I was like, no, I wasn't in the basement. And he did not realize nobody ever came and got us because we were on another side of the camp. And so when the tornado, when the storms were coming, the people from the camp went and got everybody, but we were away from everybody, so nobody came to get us.
I don't understand that because we were closer to the house than the boy camp was.
Well,
I don't understand that story.
They had to have gone like through the cornfield or something. I don't know. But yeah, they rode out the dang.
Was that the first night?
Yes.
That was we were exhausted.
Yep.
Didn't sleep.
No.
Poor kids had to get up and run the next morning at daylight.
Yes.
It was an experience,
It
but
was.
even bad adventures.
Make great stories.
The kids that were in that camp that we took may have a different point of view about that saying.
Yeah, no, they did not enjoy that trip at all. At all. Okay. My turn?
Yeah.
All right, going back to, and this is one of these that is more for camping in a large group of people or, things like that. I have got to where I will try to, if there's going to be several of us camping, I try to buy these little birthday packets of the little glow sticks that you snap and they glow in the dark. And I do that to hang on our guy lines that go to our canopy to keep people from tripping over them during the night and getting hurt or tripping over them and tearing the canopy down and stuff like that. Those little things, I've still got a pack. I think they come in like a pack of 25, and I'm still using a pack that I bought 4 or 5 years ago. I think it was like $8 for the whole pack. Now they're small. They're just like 2-3 inches, but they serve the purpose. And they're all different colors. They may be purple or red or whatever, but they work very well for that purpose. Anything to add to that?
No.
Okay.
I mean, you're the king of camping tips. I can't keep up with you here.
You got anything else?
Nothing is coming to mind. Don't miss the forest for the trees. Don't forget why you're camping. On Dolphin Island, my number one favorite place to camp, by the way. The camping is fun, but there's things there that I enjoy that nobody would ever guess that I would have never thought that I would enjoy. When we decided to go to Dolphin Island, I was thinking, oh, we're going to camp on the beach. You can go to the beach anywhere, but wake up in the morning and drink your coffee while you watch the shrimp boats go out. Ride bikes all over the island. I wish that we had...
I think the GoPro just kicked off. That's okay.
I wish that we had found Dolphin Island before we did, because it's just a great place for the kids to play. But we get so caught up in the big picture that we don't appreciate the little things. And you don't expect the little things because you're so caught up in everything else. The
people.
I know, yeah, and we met
Tater
and P-Row.
P-Row, yep.
And I'll never forget them ever.
Mm-mm.
Had my first taste of snapper.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Yep, red snapper.
And when we went camping, the first time we went camping at the Virginia Creeper, when I was a little girl, I used to read my daddy's Foxfire books. And I saw, those glowing plants that we saw?
Oh my gosh.
Is it Foxfire? 'Cause I thought it was Foxfire. And I was so excited because we were in Appalachia, so that's where the Foxfire, books are, they're written from the perspective of the Appalachian people, and we're in the foothills of Appalachia, so we're not really in the mountains. So that was the most exciting thing to me about that trip was, I love the Virginia Creeper, but I just got to see things that I don't get to see at home.
Right. And I want to go back to both of those this year. I'd love to go to Dolphin Island. I want to go to Virginia Creeper. I want to go to, all three that we've talked about, and Cades Cove. I want to do all those this year.
I mean, I don't know. That's just important to me, is to be able to enjoy the little things. Don't get so caught up in everything that you don't just notice in the small things.
Right. Awesome. That's good. That's good. My turn?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this one is going to be,
Bless you.
I think a cat just sneezed.
Bless you, kitty cat.
This one is going to be, it's probably not controversial to anybody but me, but to me it's controversial, and because I've always been a traditionalist. When I went camping, I want a campfire. When I go camping, I want a campfire. I want to go to the trouble of gathering wood. That is part of the camping experience to me. Being able to, gather firewood, light the fire, keep the fire going, all that. This last time that we went to Cades Cove to camp, you cannot bring, and it's rightly so, you cannot bring firewood from outside of Cades Cove into Cades Cove. And the reason for that is because...
That's true with any national park, right?
Yeah, right. The reason for that is you might bring diseases in that are not currently there. They're trying to protect they're trying to protect our natural resource, our natural treasure. So you have to buy firewood, because like Cades Cove, there's so many people that camp there. If you go early, like March and April, you might can pick up a few pieces of firewood. But after that, there are so many people that camp there that you can't. So you have to buy firewood.
So you can use the firewood in the forest?
If it's dead on the ground.
I didn't know you could do that.
But we've never been when there wasn't.
Okay. That's new to me.
Because it's all been picked up. But you have to buy it at the store there, and it's $7 a bundle, and it is about a third of an armload for $7. But that firewood has been kiln dried, meaning it has been basically put into an oven, a giant oven, but put into an oven and brought up to a certain temperature and held there for so long that it kills any diseases that might be living in the firewood, right? So last time we went, we were camping for 2 nights, I believe it was, and I bought 4 bundles of firewood. That was $28. $28. And then I had to split, and I was just working myself to death. And I look around, and this little couple sitting over there beside us had their little propane fire pit going, and he just got it out and set it on the ground and lit it, and they just sat down, and they were enjoying it. And I'm over here sweating, busting firewood and splitting down, trying to get some kindling going and everything. And I thought, but here's the thing. I like the smell of a firewood. I like the smell of a campfire. So this is okay. Well, then I got my fire going. I looked around, and there was fires going everywhere. And I heard that little old lady say, "I sure do love the smell of everybody's campfires." And I thought, well, dang. So I came home, and I got to looking around, and I found a good deal on us a propane fire pit. And I used it once when I went with Mr. Poe and them, and it puts out a good bit of heat. Not as much as a big roaring campfire, but it really looks like a campfire. It's it's not like a so
those wiser people had to learn the same way you did, I think, probably.
Probably. But yeah, I mean,
look at the older people. You're going to learn from them.
I was looking around thinking, wow, I'm still over here splitting firewood, trying to get some kindling and stuff ready to light a fire in 20 seconds of getting theirs out of the truck. They're already sitting around enjoying the smell of everybody else's campfire. So, all right. You got anything else? Because we've already covered my number 5, which was carry a rain fly.
No, yeah.
But now I do have another reason to carry a rain fly, but go ahead if you've got another one.
No, I don't have anything else. And the only other thing I could think of was when you left your phone. You lost your phone and you never found it. Never found it. You left it at the bathroom. What did you learn from that? Do you have a tip?
Don't leave your phone lay on the counter in the bathroom. Cades Cove. That was a troublesome lesson.
Do you have any tips for keeping up with your electronics while on a camping trip? He who has left his phone on the back of the bumper?
No.
The back bumper?
No, it wasn't the back bumper.
It was the front?
No, it wasn't the front bumper. It was on top of a canoe on the trailer.
On top of a canoe on the trailer, and he gives me a call and says, "Can you see where my phone is?" It's in the middle of the road, and BF Georgia.
It was. I couldn't.
But you found it.
I did. I turned around and drove back, and it was laying in the road, and wasn't broken. And where that thing fell off, I was probably running 60.
So you need to be learning some tips about keeping up with your electronics. Okay. Surely you've learned something.
I've learned to do an idiot check.
Do you do an idiot check, really?
Before I leave every campground, or before I leave anywhere we've stopped. I look around and I walk around and look at things from different angles, and we left a piece of trash left.
Okay, what is your idiot checklist?
I don't really have an idiot checklist. I just walk around and look everywhere people were setting, or everywhere somebody had, and look around. I did not. When Josh and I went to North Carolina and we camped up in North Carolina.
Which time?
This last time, when we went up to get our boats.
Yeah.
And we camped at that campground. Well, I had driven my truck down to our camp spot, and we had gotten Josh set up and everything. I was going to sleep in the truck, right? Mm-hmm. So we got Josh's camp set up and everything. Well, then we left and went to paddle with Pete and Stan. We did a quick little paddle on the Haw River. Well, we came back. It was after dark. Well, the man had asked me not to drive my truck in through the campground after dark because the kids played in there, right? So Josh walked back down to the camp, and he camped down there, and I camped in the parking lot in the truck. Well, while we were setting up Josh's stuff, I had opened up my box that I had just picked up that had all of my camping gear in it, and one piece of equipment, a bag had gotten wet, and I laid it over here and told Josh, I said, let's not forget that in the morning. I laid it over on a table, and I said, let's not forget that in the morning. Well, the next morning when I got up at 6. Josh was already there. He had already packed up and left the lower spot and came up. No, I got up about 5:30. We were supposed to meet at 6. I got up about 5:30, and Josh was already packed up and up there. So, I literally just used the bathroom, and we threw a couple things in the
anywhere
truck.
you stop, anywhere you have been,
I try
you do an idiot check.
I try to, yes. I get out, and like if, every time we stopped for a little break, before I would get, I'm usually always the last one in the boat at camp in the mornings. Usually I'm the last one in the boat. And I'll walk around and look. Okay, Glendon was over here. I'll walk around and look. Did he, maybe leave something hanging on a bush over here? Did he leave, a guide wire for his hammock or something? I just kind of look around and look for anything that might have got left behind.
He's a true Boy Scout.
Even just a little.
He's my Clark W. Griswold of camping. He really is, Brad. You always have been. Drives me crazy sometimes, but I know it's probably kept us out of a lot of binds as well.
Got us into a few.
Well, could have been worse.
Yep. I had carry a rain fly, and even if I'm on a backpacking trip, I like to carry, if I can at all, a lightweight rain fly, even if it's not one like if I'm hammock camping, I got one to go over my hammock. But even if I'm in a tent, I like to carry a small one because when you come into camp and it is already raining, setting up a tent in the rain is terrible. It's freaking terrible because the last thing you do to a tent is put the rain fly on. So when you're setting the tent up, it's just getting soaked on the inside. And so I have done this in the past, set up a little tarp and got under that tarp and set my tent up, put the rain fly on, and then set the tent out in the rain. Mm-hmm. And so I like to do that.
Tent camping in the rain is it sounds good, but it is just
miserable.
Oh, it's miserable. Going back to Missouri, having to.
Yeah, we had to pull
all of those tents out.
Pull all that stuff out and
wash it dry.
Yep. It was loads of fun. Sorry about that. All right. So do you have anything else?
No.
Okay.
If you're a woman, just marry somebody like Brad, and you won't have to worry about camping tips very much.
You'll have to worry about getting drug all over the country on camping trips that you might not want to go on.
Yes. Yeah. I don't think that I've ever been on a camping trip that I didn't want to go on.
Yeah, if she don't want to go, she's just not going.
And I'm not going.
Yeah.
No. My most miserable camping trip was tent. Our very first one. It was so cold.
I don't think that was the first time.
Yeah, that was the first time I've ever been camping with you. Ever. And
That was cold.
That was cold, and we were all sleeping in the same tent, trying to stay warm, and it was still cold. And I don't camp when it's cold.
It was cold. It was cold. Although now we do have the diesel heater, so but you still got to get out of the truck to pee. So that could be a problem.
And it's a huge problem with you if you're female. Yeah. So I still, diesel heater or not, I'm not going camping when it's cold, unless somebody makes me.
Maybe we'll get a camper someday, and you'll be able to go camping when it's cold.
Maybe.
Have a heated bathroom.
I would consider it then. If we get a camper, I might be the one driving you crazy about camping.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Let's go stay at Dolphin Island for 2 months, or, I would be that person.
No, because we're not.
Kidnap any grandbabies we may have, and let's go.
No, we're not carrying cats in a camper, and you're not going to stay away from your cats for 2 months. We're not carrying those cats in a camper.
Well, you just effectively burst my bubble.
Could you imagine having those cats in a camper? Where are you going to put the litter box? I can see now. I'm already going to have to build a cabinet for the litter box. And we don't even have a camper, and I'm already dreading it.
No, I'm not going to leave my cats here. No, not for 2 months.
Or 2 weeks. Or much over 2 days.
We were gone the whole month of July.
Yeah, but we were gone, but we were back in and out.
Still, they stayed by themselves. This has absolutely no bearing on this conversation. You know what?
Yeah, we need
this
to
podcast. Goodbye.
Okay, hey, that's very loud. Okay. All right, so we are going to go ahead and wrap this up. I hope you enjoyed camping tips. It was kind of all over the place. Sorry for the technical difficulties, and I wanted to try out those other microphones, and that's just not going to work. I think we're just going to have to. Excuse me.
All of the stuff's going to have to go away. We just need to if you have any good camping tips, let us know. Sign it off, or something like that. I mean, droning on and on and on reminds me of a preacher we once had. I don't like that.
Okay, so Shannon is okay. Okay, I'm going to go now. Y'all join us later when you might hear.
Y'all come back now. You hear?
All right, folks, thanks for tuning in for this episode of Pine Thicket Philosophies. Tune in next time as we continue to live by our motto, even bad adventures make great stories.